Yo, what is up, you guys? Today we have some super exciting news for you. So, what has happened is we have our hands on some new Chapter 6 leaks, which is the upcoming chapter coming out Tuesday. And there's some pretty crazy stuff about the characters that we hold near and dear to our heart, like Wattson, who might very well be the mole that is leaking information to Revenant. So, we're excited to dig right into this with you guys and basically tell you all that we know.
So we're looking at the start of it, where Crypto is going to be the one talking in this. He's the narrator for this chapter. So now we moved on to his part, and he says some things that kind of give you some more ideas on why this could be Wattson that's the mole. Where he says, "The more I realize I'm not even close to her level, I'm an idiot," implying that she's smarter than he is.
To give you guys some context, right now Wattson and Crypto are working together on rebuilding this robot who the community believes is Ash. So they're working on rebuilding Ash, and Crypto's basically saying that the more he works with her, the more he realizes that his genius doesn't even compare to hers, giving us a good idea of where they rank with each other and just how smart Wattson really is.
And then we've got a little bit more of him just talking about the artifact, things about this. Another hint of it being Ash. He says it's very coy, mysterious, definitely a girl.
I think that's
And-
Wattson talking there, actually.
Yes, that would be Wattson. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then that is followed by, "Aren't you a smarty pants?" We have a line from the prequel to all of this,
The prologue.
prologue, that specifically has a smarty pants in it as a sign off. That
So-
whoever is giving information to Revenant is going by a smarty pants.
Which is very interesting because right here we see Crypto obviously calling Wattson that, but then before that, or right after that, my bad, Crypto says, "You've never heard that before. My mom used to say it all the time. Aren't you a little smarty pants?" So what he's saying is that his family was called that. We do know Crypto has a sister, and it seems from the most recent trailer we got that Crypto's sister is actually in Hack, his drone, who will be providing a major part later on in this story. So it kind of leads us to either Wattson, who just called a smarty pants, or Crypto's sister.
And we all know, as of the addition of Crypto and World's Edge, once Crypto gets into the repulsor station and sabotages King Canyon, we know that at that point in the story, his sister has gone missing. And he's still trying to figure out all of that. So this could lead to that she is safe and is able to communicate through Hack right now.
So moving down a little bit, they're just kind of bantering, talking to each other. They like working with each other. But then Wattson asks Crypto to go grab something. And so he says, "Sure, Hack, watch her for me." He says, "I get up as Wattson looks over my drone, hovering perfectly still near my chair." And she replies, why didn't you program Hack with a personality?" He says, "It's just a drone." She replies, "A drone can have a little fun. You should program it with some jokes. I could help you. I'm very funny." So this is saying that Wattson clearly has the capability to program Hack, which could lead us to believe that she possesses the skill to hack Hack, which is something very interesting. She does bring up that Hack doesn't have a personality. Once again, we know later on something does happen with Hack, and in the most recent trailer, we see somebody else in Hack. So we'll have two people, quote-unquote, personalities inside of Hack.
Now we can assume that Crypto's sister most likely would have access to Hack in any way, as he probably would have given her access. But how would someone else get access to it like Wattson? Unless Wattson could hack into the drone.
They do joke around a lot, so it could just be kind of a tease to Hack, watch her for me, because they do make a joke that comes pretty important later on, and it says, Jawa, I don't know how to say it actually, but he says, "I'll think about it. Where did Gibraltar put that housing anyways?" And Watson makes a joke, "Data way," like data, and Crypto actually laughs, and he says, "I don't know the last time that I smiled." So they do make a joke with each other. They seem pretty warmed up to each other. So it could possibly be Crypto's letting his guard down, which might come back to bite him in the butt, as we will see later on. Crypto goes, talks to everybody, because he's getting those parts. They're all just kind of joking around. Octane is getting his legs repaired by Gibby. So there's just some conversing going on there. Nothing really big story implicated until we hear Wattson scream from the back.
We jump right back into someone talking. We don't know exactly who, but they say, "I see you're doing well. Shame." And then everyone spins around, sees Wattson, and they're all confused because the drone has Wattson against the wall, and Revenant is speaking through the speakers on Hack.
So the first thing that Revenant does say is, "I see you're doing well. Shame." That's a very key line, because if we think about it, Wattson was the first person in our little group to get personally attacked kind of by Revenant. And all things considered, she didn't get hurt that badly. We know just how much Revenant is capable of. She just ended up with some... they're wounds, but definitely not lethal or anything. Nothing too bad. She was able to recover. Meanwhile, look at Octane, you know? His legs got completely destroyed. It would be very clever by Revenant to do that, and by Wattson, if she's the bad guy, to basically have that set as a decoy to immediately push all blame away from Wattson, which we very likely have happening again here in just a moment, where they're doing this thing to seemingly push all the evidence away from Wattson.
They're asking Crypto how his drone gets hacked, and he says that Hack isn't hackable. But as we know, there are 3 people that are smart in the team right now. That's Caustic, Wattson, and Crypto. Caustic would have no need to be in the drone, as he doesn't care about it, nor is he ever near the drone. Crypto could have done it, but he has no reasoning to, and there's no implication of him doing it, while Wattson was just now in the room alone, giving her perfectly enough time to get it hacked and set up and stage all of this.
And reasoning definitely is a big thing here. We are lacking a bit of reasoning for all the characters, but it's the implication that matters. There's nothing implying Caustic. It wouldn't make sense. Crypto doesn't have... it doesn't make sense. He wasn't there necessarily. And it seems like we have a big red herring coming up where the squad turns on Crypto. They think he did this. But Wattson, if we tie these pieces together, it makes a lot of sense. Moving onwards, we see him being like, Hack isn't hackable, and Revenant goes, "Got a new message from my little friend, and thought I'd check in with my favorite pack of skin bags." And he says, "I hear you found something that belongs to me, and I'd like to give it to you. A piece of my mind." Get it, Wattson? Huh? Get it? So it's a joke from earlier, because Wattson makes the data joke, and here he's making a joke, a piece of my mind, because they're going to get Revenant's mind, which is external to his body. So obviously, either Revenant was already inside the drone and listening, or this could be another thing where Wattson is a genius. She's incredibly smart. They're doing this whole thing to constantly divert attention away from Wattson, and this is one of those ways. Wattson couldn't have already hacked it, but what if she, after Crypto left, hacked it and quickly told Revenant, "Hey, I made this joke. If you do this, they'll never suspect a thing." And it might seem like a stretch, but we have to understand we're working with dangerously high intellects here.
We've got Revenant, who is also going to be insanely smart. He's got 313 years of experience here over everyone else. So he's had perfectly amount of time to do and learn anything he needs to get by. He's been working for the Syndicate the entire time, being that the Syndicate runs the entire games. The only other person who's ever worked for the Syndicate is Wattson, because she was the one commissioned to make the ring. So they could have known each other beforehand because they both came from the same place. They both worked for the same company. So they could have had a link before all of this started that made it very easy for them to go back and forth together to go behind everyone's back.
Moving onwards, Revenant talking to Loba, he moves away from Wattson, says, "You had me tagging along, helping you find the one thing that can destroy me, and just as you're about to get your hands on it, your new friends betray you." So we have to understand who are Loba's new friends. So our two main characters right now are Crypto's sister and Wattson. So new friends, we can't really say that Crypto's sister is a new friend of Loba's because she is missing. So we have to think Wattson is one of these new friends, plus his sister clearly is telling Crypto that he is watching you, telling Crypto that from the drone in the new trailer. So this kind of pushes all attention away from his sister, and it seems it's pretty damning evidence that it could be Wattson still.
We're now at the part questioning Crypto, how many people have been around your drone in the last 48 hours? He says no one, just me and Wattson. They make sure that he's not lying. He says he's 100% sure. And then Wattson comes out the gate saying that's not the kind of personality I was talking about Crypto, which seems like she's shifting the blame to Crypto in this situation. Trying to prove that she didn't hack it, she's saying that Crypto did this. Acting like she's completely oblivious to what has happened at the situation.
She immediately after she said that, she's shaking, and Crypto reaches out to console her, and she recoils, and she looks up at him with these kind of treacherous eyes that everybody is looking up at Crypto with now. And he knows that look. Crypto has been betrayed before, and he starts asking, do you guys think I did this? Why would I ever let Revenant do this? And somebody says, you wouldn't, us who are already working together, unless you are the mole. And Crypto goes, yeah, I know this look too well. I was not prepared for this. There's another thing that is really ringing in my mind as I'm reading this out, and it's a certain voice line from Wattson, and it goes along the lines of, electricity, I understand. People, not so much. One of the devs confirmed that Wattson likely has some form of, I believe it's Asperger's minor autism, which means that she would have trouble understanding kind of social cues, and she would be hard-pressed on rationality. I don't think it's far-fetched with it all that Revenant could try to make some kind of logical deal to Wattson that helping Revenant is the logical thing to do.
Yeah, that can make total sense.
So there's just a lot of evidence pointing to this. We have two major contenders, but honestly, and as a Wattson main, it pains me so much to see my cute little baguette possibly be the bad guy, but the evidence is right in front of our faces if we just look into it. Respawn is obviously doing all this work to push people away from thinking it's Wattson, but if the more you look into it, the more it just makes sense, and I honestly think it would be bad storytelling for it to be anybody except Wattson. A lot of people think it might be a new character, but it doesn't match up the line. Loba doesn't. Who would be Loba's new friend then? Who was around the drone? It seems like it would be Wattson. With that said, guys, this all ties together, and I think it makes a lot of sense. So these are the current leaks, and we'll be right back at you with new leaks and analyzing them the moment we get our hands on them. And with that said, Kamikaze, take us out.
Alright, so I'd like to thank you guys for coming and listening to our rambling about the new chapters and giving you a little bit of context on the leaks so you can find out stuff a little bit early. And if you guys enjoyed this, then subscribe, hit the notification bell, hit the like button, leave a comment if you want us to continue this series, or if you need anything else explained. We can go back and explain any part of the story, any of the lore that you need explained to understand all of this. If you need it, we're here with it, because we're just as into the story as you guys are. So we want to make sure all of this gets out there and that we can all theorize together to figure all of this out.
We are very passionate about this community, guys, and we hope you guys are as passionate as we are.
And with that, we hope you guys have a good one, and we'll see you in the next video.